October 7 today. Coming in, so looking at all of this, and leaves are changing, but we still have lovely fall weather, so it's such a joy to be with you. We're in Matthew chapter 22 verse 1. However, if you pause this, get your Bible ready and open it up, and you're slipping through Matthew, and I should draw your attention to 21. The previous chapter. And Matthew 21 begins with the Jesus coming into Jerusalem. And then as long as you're at 21, you go back and just peruse the teachings of Jesus and what was going on. Matthew 16, 17, from the transfiguration. Here's teaching about the temple tax, the brother who sins against you, the greatest in the kingdom of heaven, these parables, and then all of this that's leading up to. And the point is, because as we are now recognizing, we are now in October, and fairly soon we're going to come to the end of the lectionary year. And so we're moving through to get Jesus to the cross. We have to have this closure now, because we will soon have Advent right on our doorstep, and the birth of Jesus and the beginning of a new lectionary year. These teachings, and you see in chapter 22. 21, 22, these are teachings of Jesus which are very directed, and so I don't know what pastors and preachers are going to talk about, but the text and context of this parable, these parables, these chapters right now are in fact dark, pointed, very, very specifically directed to the Pharisees, the Sadducees, temple authorities, these people, the scribes, the people of the temple, the people who are growing in their deep concern and anxiety over Jesus and what he is and what he's preaching, and in fact the parables and the teachings of Jesus directly to Pharisees and these temple authorities are angry, they're dark, they're very specific, and they know absolutely, in fact, that he is talking to them and about them. And so as you see, he's now telling this parable of the wedding banquet. And it says, 22, Jesus spoke to them. Who is the them? The Pharisees, Caiaphas, all of these people who are leading this mob and growing against Jesus. So he spoke to the Pharisees again in parables, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like, allegory, is like a king who prepared a wedding banquet for his son. He sent his servants to those who had been invited to the banquet to tell them to come, but they refused to come. This word cannot be minimized. They refused to come. They were willful, selfish. They intentionally rejected the invitation, directly pointing this to the Pharisees. They had the teachings of Isaiah, they have the teachings of the prophets, they have the scrolls, they have the Torah, they understand this, and they are intentionally rejecting the message of God. And I want to say, before we run out of time, I want to bring this into our attention, because I believe it's so vital, and it just shows this. So if you were to, okay, so we've set the stage of people intentionally rejecting God, intentionally rejecting Christ. And so to bring this into a vivid illustration, jump ahead to Matthew 27. And we now have Jesus in front of Pilate. And so now we've got this story. And so Matthew 27, verse 11. Meanwhile, Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "Yes, it is as you say." And when he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he gave no answer. Then Pilate asked him, "Don't you hear the testimony they are bringing against you?" But Jesus made no reply, not even to a single charge, to the great amazement of the governor. Now, in 15, now it was the governor's custom of the feast to release a prisoner chosen by the crowd. At that time, they had a notorious prisoner called Barabbas. Now, Barabbas, we got, this is the person, the man, and the name. To break his name up, it is Bar-Abba, the son of the Father. You see, and often we are familiar with Abba, to call God our Father, Abba. And so Barabbas, drop the S, Bar-Abba, son of the Father, Bar-Abba. Now, you see here, it becomes absolutely vivid as the people intentionally, willfully, stubbornly reject Jesus, the Son of God, the Son of the Father, the true Son of the Father, and they intentionally choose Barabbas, Son of the Father, as a violent insurrectionist, a murderer, a criminal, this dark, notorious, horrible person, and the people choose Barabbas over Jesus, the Son of God. And in fact, in some translations, Barabbas, some translations and give, you could Google this, they give his first name as Jesus, Yeshua Barabbas, Jesus, Son of the Father, Yeshua Barabbas. You see, the nameplay, the irony of this situation, of the people intentionally rejecting Christ here, as he is on this horrific journey to his own murder, his own death, his own cross. So we go back to 22 and the parable of the wedding banquet. And you cannot minimize, as Jesus said, the invitations were out, but they refused to come. So people are intentionally rejecting God, rejecting the invitation to come. And so he sent some more servants, and tell those who have been invited that I prepared my dinner. Everybody's ready. Come to the wedding banquet. Nobody paid attention. And they went off, did their own business. Jesus is spending this time being very clear. People are intentionally rejecting the invitation. Then he said to his servants, "The wedding banquet is ready, but those I invited did not deserve to come. Go and find anybody." And so they come. And so the servants went out and gathered everybody. And then they all came. They all came. Now, when you come to the wedding banquet, you are you are expected to dress up. There's a dress code. You're supposed to present yourself. And now the interesting thing is, you can wear your Black Lives Matter t-shirts. You can wear red and blue. You can wear whatever you want. You can support your team, you know, but to come to the wedding banquet is to put on the waters of your baptism. Put on this garment of love. You have been washed in the blood of Christ. You are now expected. And so here is, so in verse 11, when the king came in to see the guests, he noticed a man who was not wearing wedding clothes. Friend. Interesting use of friend. How did you get in here without the wedding clothes? And the man was speechless. And they said, throw him out. Throw him out. In verse 14, for many are invited, but few are chosen. You see, we have this to deal with now. So, you see, I mean, part of some of this direct application is we have to understand in our day and age, October 7th, 2020, how many people are willfully, intentionally rejecting Christ right now? Right now. But how many have full confidence in their baptism, full confidence in the love of Christ, full confidence that God has a plan for them, involved in their life, loves them, cares for them, and desires all the best for them? But then, you see, this is the tension that we live in. And we have to pay attention to this. And so to say, for some people, their idea of heaven is they get to play golf forever. They spend their whole life playing golf because it's what they love, and God will let them spend eternity doing what they love. No. The picture of heaven is a celebration and being in the company of the one who loves you, the one who has paid the most supreme price to pay for you, and to do what you could not and would not do for yourself. And so the parable of the wedding banquet being very directed to Pharisees and Sadducees, the people who have rejected the love of God. There's much to be mindful of in this, and as we look into the remaining chapters and October. So, loved ones, be safe, be good, care for one another, call the ones you love, tell them you love them, you miss them, and be safe. And this is Pastor Brian. Bye-bye.